already here on the podium, Makur from Hope and Restoration.
The guest of honor, the chief guest, the judges, timekeepers, the proposition and opposition teams, the entire audience, plus the invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Peter Makur from Hope and Restoration, a proposer of the motion which states that Western civilization has ruined African norms and traditions. While it is always advisable to let the crowd know what the meaning of the subject of the motion is before going any further, Western civilization refers to the art, literature, culture, and enduring ideas that emerged from the Eastern Mediterranean basin and developed in myriad forms in the Middle Ages that ultimately took modern shape after the Renaissance. As you've heard, its definition is pretty impressive and positive, but its impacts, especially on the African culture, are very negative. Basing on the same topic of today, I would like to give you people a quote that was said by one of the most famous icons of Africa, that's Nelson Mandela. He quoted that those people without or who do not believe in their cultures, heritage, and history are subjects to exploitation, manipulation, and deception. And currently, Africa is under manipulation, exploitation in ways such as power struggle and acquisition. This is the fight and competition for different leadership positions. It is a dominating system that has erased the African tradition of hereditary leadership. In ancient Africa, for one to become a leader, he or she must come from the ruling family or the ruling royal family. And it has now been replaced by the Western system of democracy that fills the hearts of Africans with hatred and enmity. Because when power is contested for and one party loses, the losing party might not accept the result, hence resulting to terrorism and rebellious movements which ruin the norms of peace, unity, or togetherness in Africa. To make the ends meet, we also have the sexual abuse issue. Western civilization has encouraged so many forms of sexification in Africa. We have the LGBTQ movement, which defines sex as a personal concern and a matter of pleasure and leisure. LGBTQ itself stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. Look how undescribable the words are. And the magnitude with which these words, the magnitude with which this civilization is invading African culture has forced 2 African presidents to speak about it in public. And as you know, something that is spoken about by the presidents in public is a very serious issue. When one of the American presidents proposed that such acts should be allowed in Africa, President Mugabe contested and said that I would only allow such deeds in my country only if you link your wife to somebody else, marry me, and then become my wife. President Museveni also put it nicely that only if you lock a man and a man into a room, they play sex as much as they want. And luckily, if any of them conceives and gives birth, that's when I will allow such deeds in Uganda. The opposers will explain to me how a man and a man can conceive. We have the issue of family planning. This is the practice of controlling the number of children and having huge intervals between their births.
Thank you.
Intervals between their births, particularly by use of artificial contraceptives and voluntary sterilization. The Western civilians encourage this because they do not want an increasing population in Africa. The Western ideology believes that the more the African population increases, the more they will take over of the world in terms of economics and political supremacy. But it isn't our way of life as Africans, because we are supposed to honor God in ways like giving back to unlimitedly. Ladies and gentlemen, because of the issue of time, summarize of my points, I've talked of power struggle and acquisition, sexual abuse, family planning. And then, to conclude, I would like to say, the African civilians believe in the superiority of the Western civilians, and the Western civilians believe in the inferiority of Africans. Let me ask you one question. Why is it that there are only the European, the American systems that are being implemented in our continent, yet you don't seem to find any of our systems operating in the Western world? What is it? Which kind of logic is that? Why are we under manipulation and deception, and we are allowing it to ourselves? So we are Africans, I call upon you. They say that a child cannot laugh at the ugliness of his or her mother. No matter how unworthy or ugly our cultures may look, we can never cast them off our backs. Thank you.
That one is man mouth.